Chat. Hello. If you're there, let me know. Hello. Is anybody Final Fantasying today? Is anybody feeling finale'd and fantastic? Good day, everyone. It is Tuesday, February 18th, 12:50 on the East Coast, and we have got a reveal stream of some kind from Wizards of the Coast coming up in the next 10 minutes to talk about Final Fantasy. Now, let's temper some expectations. Probably not going to be a lot revealed in this one. This is not going to be one of those like, oh, here's 20 cards and all the mechanics. I don't think. This should just be another taste. We'll see a couple more cards. We'll probably see some packaging. I'd be shocked if we even saw something like the headliner, right? That would be like, I think, peak for us today, is if they show us what the headliner is going to be. Thank you for being here. We appreciate you hanging. Jake will join us in a little bit. He had a prior conflict, scheduling conflict. Wizards drops these things on us out of nowhere, and we work to get live, and we work around the issues. But Jake will be joining us a little bit later. Travis, what's up? You headed up to Chi-Town? Or back to LA before Chi-Town? No, Charles, I am Joel. Good to meet you, everybody. I am Joel of Jake and Joel. I'm the Joel half. I gotta tell you this. Earlier today, I was sent a link of Final Fantasy play boosters for pre-order. And let me tell you that this pre-order had these play boxes of Final Fantasy, play boxes of a standard set, listed at $180. YouTuber face. Hopefully it was a mistake. It was taken down so fast. WotC snipers were definitely on the roof, watching for that one. But I did gulp a little bit when I saw a 180 price on play boosters, because that's the danger of it. That's what I talked about when Jake and I talked about all our initial reactions to this in last night's video. These precons being $70, that tracks against Universes Beyond precon prices. That does not track against standard release precon prices. Now, I know that this one is like not the best example because it's got some hot shit card in it and everybody's jacking the price of this one up. But that notwithstanding, the MSRP is what it is. It does, Travis. That was my next point, is that it looks like they're trying to position this at the pricing of a Modern Horizons set. For a standard set. I think we're just in for some changes this year. I am interested to see what happens now, because one fewer set, I think, is what we were promised overall this year. Where's that money coming from? That money ain't going away. Corporate America is never like, you know what, this year we're okay with everything staying the same. We want to make the exact same amount of money as last year this year. Go us. That never happens. So we will see. AJ, join the Discord. We got our schedule for Chicago has been posted on the Discord and on a couple of our social channels. Catch us there. Kenneth, I gotta say, $180 play boxes are gonna be pretty crazy. I would hope that this ends up like a set like Foundations, where the collecting end of it is pretty expensive and chase and hard to find and track down, and that would be fine with me, as long as the play boxes are available. And they will be available long term. I was telling somebody this online yesterday. In the short term, this stuff is gonna pop off. Hype prices are gonna pop this stuff off like crazy out the gate. But it is a standard set, and standard is legal for somewhere between 10 and 13 years now, every individual standard set. And so it has to be available. They can't have every card be the price of Shoulder the Apocalypse. That's cool, Trev. Have a good trip. Good luck with your Utah business. So we shall see. We shall see. I thought that was an interesting lead in to the video, to the stream today. Somebody sending me a link for a $180 play box. Hopefully it was a mistake. Hopefully it was taken down so quickly because that was incorrect. Because, I don't know. What's my favorite fantasy that's final? I'm a Final Fantasy Tactics guy, Spec. Not to be the different one. I'm a Final Fantasy Tactics guy. I've always liked tactical games and I've always liked shooter games. And so RPGs widely were misses for me in my gaming world growing up. That's my way of saying I never played a Final Fantasy game. I watched some get played. Oh, bro, I played the shit out of Advance Wars. Did you, Kendo? I don't know. I would assume that we're going to get some shout outs to tactics and shout outs to like the, offshoot games. But they have really focused all of the marketing so far on these are the main line single player RPG games that we're covering. Yeah, potentially, Travis. I don't know. The thing I see with Modern is like a couple more free spells. I feel like rule of thumb going up the power level of formats, Standard, Pioneer, Modern, Legacy, all that stuff. More prevalence of free spells, more options against synergies. And so potentially, but I don't really understand what you mean by will they make Standard Modern power level. Like, in Standard, can't you like already win on turn 4 right now? I'm pretty sure there are red decks that have turn 3 or 4 wins that are not bannable decks. That's just intentional. Not 100% on that. RJ, yeah, that was a Best Buy listing. That is correct. Yeah, I've been playing a little bit of Standard. I've been playing a mono black deck that has that 3-mana room that checks for a demon or does damage to you and then runs the 4-mana demons that are good for that alongside Unstoppable Slasher. And so with Unstoppable Slasher and the Bloodletter of Aclazats, you basically have a little 2-card combo to deal half their damage, then they take half their damage. Or Unholy Annex LP. Yeah, thank you. Yeah, it's like Unholy Annex, some demons, Unstoppable Slasher, and a bunch of removal. It is very mono black. It's been fun though. I have been enjoying Standard currently. Yeah, I completely... So, Mr. Beast in the chat, what's up? Good to see you, Mr. Beast. Said, oh yeah, if it's Best Buy, it's definitely not accurate. Nobody buys booster boxes from GameStop and Best Buy. Their blisters are only mildly overpriced, but boxes are always crazy. I completely agree. But if they're selling it for $150, is that a... I mean, if they're selling it for $180, is that a $150 for sure? Is it closer to what MSRP is? Here we go, chat. We're getting going over here. Let's swap over.
Might be for this set, and we know there's a ton of excitement out there. These two gentlemen to my left are probably more excited. They have been
chat. Let me know if you can hear it. Okay.
About this set for so long. So
yeah, Jake will be joining later. He had a scheduling conflict. They started this a little early.
Well, everybody, it's time. Welcome to Final Fantasy meets Magic the Gathering. This has been years and years and years in the making. I think we started working on the set in 2021, and we started talking about it even before that. We've put so much time and energy and love into this, and I cannot wait for you to see what's going on today.
Yeah, I've had the chance to work on this set for 4 years, and it's been a dream come true for myself and many other people in the building. The passion, the energy, the excitement from our game design team, our art director team, everyone that's touched the product in any way has just been an amazing journey over the last 4 years, even to the extent of like random executives chasing me down in the hallway and asking like, what does Chocobo do? Like, what are we doing? So everyone, like the passion and excitement from everyone here at Wizards has been so palpable for so long. So
yeah,
so
man,
excited.
if you were working on a major IP set like this for 4 years.
The first game I ever bought with some help from my parents was Final Fantasy 1, right? That really got me going. And now to actually get to work on the set is incredible. And also get to work with Square Enix was unbelievable. Like, these are the people that make this game and this franchise that I love so much. And we worked hand in hand. It was really an authentic collaboration. Like, we went over there many times.
Well, we should get full confirmation on your theory today,
we showed
Travis.
Them the cards. We saw some people
I'm
who worked
assuming
on
they'll
the earlier
show
games, see cards that we
this is the kind of stream where they're going to show it. They're going to talk about story. They're going to talk about inspiration and stuff. But this is the kind of stream where they'll show us like packaging and stuff. And sometimes we get MSRPs.
Absolutely.
Now that they do MSRPs again.
Quickly here, just going to show a video for fans who may have.
Because this is mostly for like store and distributor sake.
About,
We're just
commander decks that were
drafting
released,
off the
very exciting.
hoping
As well
for
as the
cool cards.
announcement of Yoshitaka Amano being involved creatively with the project, which we're very excited about.
we knew we had to do that.
Yeah,
Right? That was critical.
It had to be done. So.
Yeah, I mean, so we're going to show you a little video here in a second. It's going to run you through a ton of cards. You see a ton of cards in a very short amount of time. But stay tuned. Don't go anywhere. We're going to come right back.
We're going to get a ton of
talk about
cards,
all
he
the
said.
cards. You're going to have some
That's
questions.
kind of
I'm
surprising.
sure. Well, we have answers. So we're going to show you the video. And everybody, welcome to Magic the Gathering Final Fantasy.
He is so excited for this, dude. Man, I'm happy for him.
Welcome
He is,
to the
like,
first look at Magic the
jazzed for
Gathering
this.
Final Fantasy.
Morning. Hey,
The
Blake.
legends from 16 games are represented in this set, which includes 4 commander decks. Featured in the 4 decks are Terra, Herald of Hope from Final Fantasy VI, Cloud, Ex-Soldier from Final Fantasy VII,
I watched a
Tidus,
20-minute
Venus
video,
Guardian
30-minute video
from
today
Final
on the
Fantasy
plot of
X,
Final Fantasy VI.
and
So
Stola
you
Knights Blessed
might say
from
I'm something
Final
of a Final Fantasy
14.
expert myself.
Which card will command your deck? In this set, you'll find the
Did they
boss
say
monsters
Tidus
you
or
love
Tidus?
from
I
Final
didn't listen.
Fantasy, like on this Jumbo Cactuar card, and this Sin Spira's Punishment card. And the whimsy of Final Fantasy is here too. Check out these Tonberry, Stiltskin Moogle Merchant, and Saz's Chocobo cards. Double-faced cards show character progression
There's
or
Garland.
different forms of the same creature. For example, Garland, Knight of Cornelia, becomes Chaos the Endless with matched increase to power and toughness.
Look at that.
Cecil Dark Knight and Cecil Redeemed Paladin
Hey.
reflect Cecil's journey in Final Fantasy IV. This Emmett Selk Unsundered card becomes
We're going
Hades,
fast. We're gonna be
Sorcerer
going
of
back,
Eld,
chat.
when turned to its opposite side.
They're just like, look at all the characters.
With side quests, catch a fish.
Whoa.
You can go fishing, then turn the card over and cook the fish with Cooking Campsite to produce a food token card. New in this set are summons,
Hey,
shown here
who
on this
wanted
Shiva
summons?
card.
You got summons.
Summons are saga creatures
Let's
that combine
go,
features
baby.
of a saga and a creature. So you
Yo.
can go through the steps of the saga
New
and
creature
attack
type,
or
new card
defend at the
type?
same time. The Final Fantasy Through the Ages bonus sheet features well-known art from Final Fantasy's history.
Whoa.
Dragon at Mount Gulk features art by Yoshitaka
New
Amano.
full art kind of
And
thing
Yuffie
here.
Kisaragi shows art from Tetsuya Nomura. You'll find these
That's a
favorites
Yuriko
and
and
more
an
you
ancient
love from
copper
Final
dragon.
Fantasy 1 through Final Fantasy 16. Sephiroth Planet's Heir and Cloud Planet's Champion
Enters
cards
creatures
face
get
off
-2,
and ready-to-play
-2.
decks from the starter kit. Check them out.
These are just starter kit cards. They're supposed to be basic.
All of this and more in Magic the Gathering Final Fantasy.
Gift bundle. Not shocking.
Available
Wow.
June 13th.
Okay,
Shape
that was
your
a lot.
magic story.
Y'all, that was a saga that turns into a creature at the end.
and welcome back. We packed a lot of hype into a really short amount of time.
That was a lot of cards.
And so we are going to spend the rest of this show, well, I mean, these guys are going to be gushing for quite a bit of it, but also talking about behind the scenes, how these cards came to be, new treatments, art styles, just everything. We are going to unpack everything you just saw over the next hour. And we're going to start by first, they were so excited, they didn't even give their names when we started. So let's
It's
start.
Final Fantasy Day.
It's Final Fantasy Day.
You know?
Yeah.
I'm so excited.
So before we dive into everything, who are you and what did you do on the set?
Hey, I'm Gavin Verhey. I was the lead set designer on Magic the Gathering Final Fantasy, which is a huge honor. Really amazing to work on it. I also want to give a huge shout out to the rest of the design team, Daniel Holt, who led the Commander decks, not on the stream today, and Yanni Skolnick, who led vision design. Of course, it was a huge
Gavin
effort
shopped
across
at
the
Dan
whole company,
Flashes
but
for this
from
show.
the design side of things, these folks are the ones that really
You can
drove the
tell
whole
that
thing
shirt's
forward
expensive.
and made something incredible.
Awesome. And I'm Zakil Gordon. I was the executive producer of the set, doing everything from product design to working with all the teams involved. Obviously, the design team, also our creative team. Shout out to Dylan Devaney, the creative lead for the set, who did an amazing job. So I've been involved with the
Look how
project
insane
for
that pattern
4
is.
years now.
You know that shirt's expensive. You can just tell.
I can't believe
all
it's
4
here.
years are trying to
Yeah, I just can't.
Field right now.
I'm freaking out.
And we're both also like lifelong Final Fantasy players,
Yeah.
right? Like
Yeah.
I said, Final Fantasy was the first game I ever purchased. I'm even playing a
Final
super long
Fantasy
time.
7 and 10 are not just my favorite Final Fantasies. Final Fantasy 10 may legitimately be my favorite video game. So it's so good.
All right, well, we're going to talk about all that goodness. So everything you just saw, we're going to go over it. So if you didn't quite pause the screen on what you wanted to see, we're coming back to all of it. Let's start by just talking about the set as a whole. This is a big deal. This is our first, standard Universes Beyond set.
All right,
There's
nothing
a lot
new
going
there.
on here. Tell us about the set as a whole.
All right, nothing we didn't know here.
Magic the Gathering Final Fantasy is a full tentpole booster release that's legal in all formats coming out in June. The set celebrates all 16 mainline games. So if you're a fan of some of the earlier Pixel era content, there's absolutely going to be stuff for you. If you're a fan of some of the more modern
Who's that person in the
titles
blue
like
armor with
16,
the shield?
16, or some of the MMORPGs in 11 and 14, those are also included in the set.
Is that?
Many of our team
I don't know who that
members
is.
have expertise throughout the history of Final Fantasy. So there were people who
That's
were
Cecil?
super passionate about making sure we got Final Fantasy V correct and Final Fantasy III correct and the Final Fantasy XIV experience and how that differs from some of the other titles. So we went super, super deep.
Oh,
to
that's
make
just
sure
the
that
Warrior
we
of Light from the
accurately
first one.
represented,
Got it. I don't think I've ever seen him
each of the
drawn like that. I'm
mainline games. in
learning
this.
Final Fantasy. I'm
And
very
as
new
part
to
of
this,
that,
but
this is one of the largest.
I've watched all the plots
or
of
biggest
1, 2, 3,
design
and
challenges
6
I
so
think we've
far. I
probably
had
ever
watched
had
1,
for
2,
Magic
3, and I
games for
skipped to
Universes
6 when I
Beyond.
saw the Commander decks.
So
I'm going to do
as
the
a
Commander
kind of
decks next, so I know those
self-imposed
stories and then
limitation
go
for the
back.
set, the main set specifically is limited to all 16 mainline titles. So, for example, Final Fantasy X is in
John
the set.
Fantasy?
Final Fantasy X unfortunately did not make it.
Oh, that's John
that
Fantasy.
Was a
Wait, you said Final Fantasy X and then Final Fantasy X. You said
Final Fantasy X, Final Fantasy X-2.
Okay.
The sequel and spin-offs are unfortunately not in. That is just entirely due to the sheer scale of content. You really could have made multiple different sets, but in order for us to get this correct and to make sure that we really accurately represented specifically many of the earlier games.
Yeah,
and the
Damien,
breadth
these
of the entire
this
mainline
one
series,
unintended thing of Universes
we
Beyond that I'm
focused on
realizing is I'm going to have to
so
learn
that's
some
the
other
shape of the
IPs pretty
content.
intensely.
And there's no shortage of stuff.
Or there's going to be just like half the sets in a year,
wanna go back and
unless
stress
it's something I'm
how
familiar with that I
important it
can't
was
even
to
talk
get all
about
those
really
mainline
well.
Games represented. As a designer, I almost saw it as like I had my roster of people, and I was like, okay, I'm making a card for Final Fantasy III. I know who the fans
Travis
of Final
forced me at
Fantasy is in the
gunpoint.
office.
He was like, I don't want you to sound stupid.
And chat with them. And because a lot of people have played some Final Fantasy games, but very few people have played every single Final Fantasy
DJ
game.
Riot,
So
just play
having
the
those
games.
extra
Okay,
things
cool.
work
You
for
got a
each
hyperbolic time
game
chamber I
office
can
was
borrow
really
there, pal?
critical, and it really made it feel like a huge office.
Or do you know of any free childcare in my area?
So many people. This wasn't just a small design team. This was so many people over the past several years contributing ideas and chipping in and play testing, to bring this to life and bring that passion.
Yeah, Damien, especially when they're going to be standard releases. Like this set is going to be around
let's talk a little bit about the
forever.
product lineup, Zakil. There we go. Tell us what we can expect here.
It'll be like
so
a
once again,
quest,
this is a
Spectre.
full
They get to
tentpole
level up on their
release,
own.
which
It's all
includes an
Final
entire,
Fantasy themed all the way down.
300 plus card standard set. Those are available in play boosters and collector boosters, as well as our standard offering of bundle and
Yeah, Damien, I
bundle.
figured with this one being around for
And
so
then
long, it's not going to
alongside
be
the main
like
set, we also
Doctor Who.
have
I was
a
basically
Commander
able to
deck
ignore
release, which
Doctor
has
Who
4
because
Commander decks
it was just the
themed
decks,
around
some
individual
cards, that was
games,
it. Moved
with
on.
the
Commander
collector
only.
versions of those decks also available. For new players, we also have a starter kit that is 100% standard legal. So if you're learning to play Magic and this may be your
Look at that
first
art on the
introduction to
gift
Magic,
bundle.
you
Oh,
can
y'all
pick
can't
that
see
up,
it, can you?
battle your friends, and then upgrade your deck and take it to your local game store and have a good time. And then, of course, as always, we have a dedicated pre-release kit for the launch event in June.
All right. Now, let's get back to the cards.
Yeah.
All right, fine. You can answer me. You told me.
We didn't give chat enough time to properly freak out about each card before we went to the next one. So we're going to spend some time freaking out
Dom,
about
that
these
is the
cards.
most common sentiment that I'm
Steele and
seeing.
Gavin have already been
I can't
doing
wait
so.
till we
We're
get to
gonna
Spider-Man, y'all.
continue. So let's take a look at our first card.
Marvel's going to be insane.
Saz's Chocobo. They're finally here.
Yeah, it's time.
Okay.
We've made a Chocobo card.
Hang on.
So we have a quick graphic here.
Look at that
for
set
fans who
symbol.
may not be as familiar with kind of the
That is what I
skeletal
thought the set
mechanical
symbol was
aspect
gonna
of
look
Magic
like.
cards. As a quick kind of
Chocobo's the
run-through,
commander
at the
set
top
symbol.
Of every Magic card, you have the name of the card, the mana value of what it costs to cast that card, and as you go down towards the bottom of the card, your type line calling out what the creature type or card type,
Wow.
and then the creature type related to that, as well as the expansion symbol, which denotes rarity. Of course, rules text and flavor text, which Gavin.
Yeah,
will
this
get
card
into
is
in a second.
insane.
But one very special thing for this set that we've never done before is within the collector information on the bottom left.
I love this. This
on
is so
every
good.
single card within
y'all see that?
Magic the
Yeah, yeah.
Gathering Final Fantasy, whether it's main set or commander decks or promo cards or whatever, there is a game identifier, and it has the specific call out of which game that card is from. This is very useful if you may only be familiar with a couple different games.
Yes.
And if you open up a pack of cards,
Huge.
you can learn and kind of really dive into the history of, this character's from Final Fantasy IV. Or you can see
The
the
character keeps
evolution
this
of many of the
chocobo in his
features of
hair.
How the chocobo design or the
That's
chocobo
funny.
model has evolved. Throughout
Yo,
history.
yeah, so
huge,
them
huge
putting
moment.
the game indicator down in the bottom left with the collector information is such a nice touch. I'm such a fan of that.
Main set, commander, and anything related to Magic the Gathering Final Fantasy.
It's actually a pretty fun
Such a
story
good
how this
choice.
came about. We were in a play test, and some people who were playing who knew some Final Fantasy, but not all of them. And they're like, "Well, here, who's this? What game is this from?" And I was like, "Oh, that's from Final Fantasy VIII." And they looked at another card, and they're like, "Okay, well, what is this from?" "Well, that's from Final Fantasy III." And we were looking at that, and we're like, "Oh, well, what if we just actually put that?" It was actually Zakil's idea. What if we just put that on the card? And I love it. It's like
Such a good
you get
idea.
to see the ones that you know and recognize, but also if it tells you should go look a little deeper.
Pre-orders
right?
are
Like,
up on
oh,
Amazon.
I want to go learn more about 8 or 3 or whatever the game might be, and I love that it draws you in a bit to the whole universe of Final Fantasy.
Yeah. I did see a good question in chat on that. Do even the basic lands have that?
Correct. Every single card. Every single
Oh, wow.
And now if we put Saz's Chocobo
Basic
back up for a second,
lands
I'll
are
talk
gonna
about
have
the
them on
card
there too?
mechanics, because it's pretty exciting. So, of course, Saz's Chocobo, 1-mana Chocobo, really exciting. Little baby Chocobo, super adorable and cute. One thing I'll call out is that the Chocobos in this set have a bit of a landfall theme going on. So while this is the only Chocobo you're going to see today, you can imagine what maybe some other Chocobos might end up doing. So you'll see plenty of these birds around, getting bigger as you play lands. So you got to run around on your Chocobos. And yeah, this little guy hits hard, really hard, by the way.
Yeah.
So he grows up fast.
All right, let's move on to some other cute cards in the set. Tell us about Tonberry.
Yeah, so Tonberry was a design. It took us a while to get right. You know, I talked to a lot of people about what they expected to see in the set. And of course, Chocobos and Moogles and all that kind of stuff was in there. But Tonberry came up over and over and over again. And one of the things I tried to do in the design of the set was make sure that some of the really iconic stuff showed up at lower rarities. So even if you haven't played all the Final Fantasy games, as you're opening up a booster pack, you're likely to see something that you recognize, right? And Tonberry was pretty iconic, so I wanted to get it in at common or uncommon. And we worked on the design for a while, and if you don't know the Tonberry, it's this character that has like this knife and will kind of kill you in one hit and like slowly follows you around, but will absolutely destroy you if they hit you. And so showing up a little bit slow with that stun counter, and then once they start attacking, first strike, death touch, you are not blocking this thing, really felt thematic for a Tonberry. And you know, a 1-mana 2/1 creature that basically can't be blocked effectively is a solid 1-drop. So really fun little take here.
Absolutely. All right. Now, there are also some new creature types in the set, which we'll see on this next card. Tell us about Stiltskin.
Yeah, I mean, it's a Moogle. It's a Final Fantasy set.
It's
you
a
know?
Moogle.
I mean,
It's a Moogle,
that's what we
chat.
have to love. So we tried to match existing creature types where we could, but with Moogles, what is it? It's a Moogle. That's what it is. So we, added the new creature type Moogle here. Now, I'm a big lover of Final Fantasy IX. That's one of my favorite Final Fantasies. And so one of the great things about your lead designer is you get to put a little bit of a thumb on the scale to what cards show up in the set. And so, of course, every game is well represented. We have tons for everybody. But I wanted to make sure to get some of my favorite characters from Final Fantasy IX in here, and that's where Stiltskin comes from. And I love this kind of white donate effect. It's a little fresh. It's a little new. Hand them something, get a card back. Really fun in multiplayer, or I don't know, maybe in standard you hand them a demonic pact for fun. I mean, these kinds of things happen sometimes. he's a very generous little Moogle here.
Zakil, we also see kind of our first booster fun here with those Borderless woodblock cards. Tell us about those.
Yeah, absolutely. So as we were going through development, one of the things that we worked on with Square Enix was trying to figure out what are cool, awesome collectible iterations of many of these characters. What can we really do to bring this set to life, feels authentic? And the Borderless woodblock art style is one that we did in Neo Kamigawa.
Moogles are the cute mascot? I thought that was Chocobos.
Successful when people
So it's like
them.
Chocobos and Moogles?
And so we brought them here kind of as a nod to the Japanese roots of the Final Fantasy series and just a beautiful art style that...
Yeah, Spec, but what are we going to overreact about?
These cards.
Okay. Now, one of the bigger reactions I saw in chat is for our next card, and bigger is correct.
I believe this is the biggest number ever in the text box of a Black Border Magic card.
Really?
As someone who I've played Final Fantasy VII and dabbled in a couple others, but I'm not super familiar. This was the card I was looking through the set that caught my eye. It's big for Final Fantasy. It's huge for Magic. Tell us about this.
Well, first of all, I think one thing I'll say is, Zakil and I, for the past several years, every time there's like a new Reddit thread or a new, tweet on some social media about talking about what they expect to see in the set, we're always like, ooh, what do we get? What do we get? What do we get? And the Cactuar that gets plus 9999 has been, or plus 99, depending on which version they're talking about, has always been a thing people have suggested.
Yeah.
And so every time Zakil and I are like, we got him. We got him on this one. And this card's been there since almost the very
I'm
beginning.
like, fling this thing.
It's perfect. So a Cactuar, deals a ton of extra damage. There's 10,000 needles is the ability of the Jumbo Cactuar here. This one gets plus 9999 in the game. And it's such a perfect creative fit. And yeah, it is ridiculous. It will kill you in one hit. It does have player death touch. Yes, you can fling this at people. Yes, you can give it haste and go bananas. But I love that it really captures.
He's like, it doesn't matter. It's crazy. Final Fantasy's crazy.
In a really straightforward way that you see it and you're like, I get it. I understand. And one of the fun things for me and others on the design
there's a
team
couple ways to give it trample,
working
Brad.
with a game to make a Magic set out of is there's already a lot of fun game mechanics we can just translate into Magic. And this is one to me of like, yeah, what does it do? It deals 10,000 damage. Well,
there you go.
I guess here we go. That's what the card's going to do here, Yeah. So
This card just makes me so
Commander
happy.
YouTubers be like, I wish I had avoidance. I don't know.
Yeah, it costs 7 mana, but you will kill people with this, right? Like in our Commander play testing, you would like give this haste the turn it comes down.
Yep.
Lightning Greaves, a great friend of Jumbo Cactuar. You can of course fling it at people. You got to get it to attack, but you can make that happen, right? No problem.
Yeah, absolutely. No, and I think one of my favorite things about this card is obviously there are tons of Final Fantasy fans.
Oh my God,
so you can just look
Xenagos.
at that card and get it.
Right.
Yeah.
That's a 20,000.
10,000 needles.
It's a
Yep,
20,000
okay.
power,
It's got
right?
10,000
Is that how that
needles.
works?
Got it.
Yes, and of course, we do bring back ability words here. You saw that there. There's a number of ability words throughout the set to convey a bit of extra flavor.
Right.
Or excuse me, flavor words is what they're called. Flavor words to convey a bit of extra flavor.
In Final Fantasy VIII, you can't get over 9,999 health, so 10k hit is an instant kill.
They use, so let's actually put those on the cards.
Yeah. All right. Next up, we've got something a bit more serious. Let's take a look at Sin Spear's
All right.
Punishment.
Here's a big old legend.
Totally. I mean,
see what we got here, chat.
This is the big bad from Final Fantasy X, depending on how you want to frame it, I suppose. But we want to make sure that all your favorite heroes and villains, the big ones from all the main games.
Travis, you just ordered everything?
And Sin is, of course, no exception. Now, I'm not going to spoil the story of Final Fantasy X in case you're not familiar.
At least you can cancel
but
it, right?
Making a bunch of copies of things is certainly pretty resonant for
When Sin enters or attacks, exile a permanent card from your graveyard at random. Then create a tap token that's a copy of that card. If the exile card is a land card, repeat the process.
Yeah, this is a really fun, different take on kind of a Sultai graveyard commander. You want to fill your graveyard with lands, so you can bring a ton of them back. Yeah, it's definitely a haymaker for 7 mana on that enters or attacks trigger.
Yeah, and Ezekiel, we're going to keep gushing over the art as we go through this, but can you talk a little bit about the approach overall to the art styles and what you wanted to invoke?
Yeah, so much of the booster fun in the set is heavily influenced by various different Japanese art styles. So it's kind of a top-down take on a lot of iconic characters,
if you want to see the wood block a little
features
better,
that we know people will love, and done in obviously a different way from Magic House style.
Yeah,
so,
this is standard.
Of course, you see the main set version of the ship going into or battling Sin with the city on top, but seeing the perspective of Sin kind of flying through the sky in this wood block is absolutely amazing. So.
Yeah, and how closely did, obviously we have our stable of artists, Square has theirs. How closely did we work with Square Enix on all of the art and the artists?
Yeah, so every single piece of art was reviewed by Square Enix. We worked very collaboratively throughout all of development, talking about this is how we want to represent each game, this is the character list that we want to hit on, and we would go back and forth. It was super collaborative of, oh, this is a character that we want to put at a high rarity that we think will be special, and we may send them maybe a list of 2 or 3, and they'll say these 2 are ones that we encourage you to do because of this reason, or we have a really awesome story and maybe you can tie this into design, or maybe this specific character is very important to our brand, so we'd like you to do it this way or not. So many of the artists that have worked on Final Fantasy throughout their brand history were many of the people who were actually reviewing the artwork. And as we announced, again, Yoshitaka Amano and perhaps maybe a few other artists were also involved in the creative creation of art pieces for the set. So.
It was so cool to work with Square Enix once again, right? They're the people that helped bring this franchise to life and are still working on it now. And a lot of those folks are still there. Like when we went over to Japan to play with them, we got to meet people who worked on some of my favorite games from when I was a kid. You know, it's so special. And of course, they've got some huge Magic fans there too, which is part of how we got to bring this to life.
Yeah, the producer on
Food Time, I'm hoping that MSRP, this is all just hype shit.
Side, Sochi Ichikawa is a lifelong Magic fan. And there's like just a very special moment when we're talking to them about creating something. We finally, build this file. We fly over for this play test. We're very excited, but of course you're a little nervous of just like, we put so much work into this. What do you think? And they were just beaming as Magic fans and as Final Fantasy fans, just really happy with the quality of the designs and the quality of the set. So it is unlike anything I've had the chance to do. It's so awesome.
I remember we have a weekly call with them every week for years where we chat with these folks. And I remember my first time I was on the call, the guy's like, hey, I played in 4 pre-releases last weekend. And I'm like, oh, okay, you mean business. Like, you are really a Magic fan. All right, awesome. Let's talk, And they saw all the cards. They could get feedback on some of the designs. It was really amazing, really amazing.
All right, let's get back to talking about the cards.
We haven't been told MSRP on the boxes yet, Steve. At least not officially.
4
Commander decks we have.
double-face cards. So let's take a look at those, and we'll start with Garland, and talk about. Tell us about how we landed on having double-face cards in the set and what function they serve.
Yeah, so when I think about Final Fantasy, one of the things that really pioneered in games is kind of the idea of this isn't even my final form, right? Mm-hmm. Someone who evolves or changed, and the heroes and villains both together go through lots of evolution. And we thought, what better way to represent that than double-faced cards? That literally lets you show the evolution of these characters. And Garland, from the very first Final Fantasy game, you see him very early on in the game, you fight him, it's the first boss battle you have in the game, and then he comes back at the end as Chaos, I guess, spoilers, for Final Fantasy 1. But that's exactly what happens here, right? He's a nice little creature that comes
$70
early,
for the base,
goes away,
$150 for the collector.
Later on, he comes back as Chaos. So you'll see these at all throughout the set in all kinds of ways, showing off, like I said, heroes and villains, and a couple other things I'll get to in a second. But heroes and villains are kind of the big tentpole for us here.
And then we see that extended art, of course.
Yeah, it makes
extended art,
sense with how many
staple of ours and
transformations.
collector boosters.
But I'll call out, you do say that uncommon here, right? So
Yeah.
you gave it to the legends in the set, which is pretty cool. So if there's an uncommon legend that you're excited about, you can get that in extended art.
Very cool. Yeah, that is. I don't know that we've ever done that before.
I don't believe we have.
Okay.
Yeah.
Just let the legends of Final Fantasy shine a little bit. You know?
Yeah.
I thought it was a cool idea.
Every character is someone's favorite character, and we took that very serious throughout development, just of making sure that if you're a super fan of FF1, there's an awesome, cool card that you can collect and build a deck around.
Totally, like when reading all these threads, like you get all the characters you would expect every time. There's always like these notes about like, what about this character, this side character, this side character, and really, you're absolutely right. Every character is someone's favorite character, so let's make them awesome if we're gonna be in the set.
Yeah, at least a few people in chat were pretty stoked to just shout chaos.
You can do that too.
All right, let's see our next double-faced card, Cecil.
Yeah, speaking of heroes and villains, Cecil is a character that I was asked for very, very early on when we announced the set. People have wanted this. Many people have guessed double-faced Cecil, which is perfect for their character's story. And we wanted to give them a really banging card. So yeah, a 1-mana 2/3. I don't see those stats every day.
That's
And
kinda
eventually
crazy.
then transforms into a 4/4 lifelinker is quite the deal. My idea for this, I was actually inspired by like Death's Shadow decks, which try and deal damage to themselves really quickly. So you can kind of bring your life total down fast and then flip it in an aggressive deck, or there's all kinds of fun ways you can do this. Wait to play it till later if you want to. But it's a really cool way of showing off Cecil's story, and a card from Final Fantasy IV, which is a favorite among many longtime Final Fantasy players.
Absolutely.
Yeah, shout out to Dylan on our creative team, who he was my Final Fantasy IV expert. I mean, I played it a long time ago, but he like loves Final Fantasy IV. So this was the card I was like, we have to get this one right, and I'd constantly go to Dylan and be like, how about this? How about this? How about this? And eventually we got here, and it's such a perfect mirroring, such a great mirroring, and a pretty sweet card too.
Yeah. All right, and then now the extended we've seen the borderless character cards, Zakil. This is the first we're seeing them.
Yeah, so as I previously mentioned, much of the overall collectible strategy and collectible kind of booster fund design in the set is heavily inspired by Japanese culture. You saw the kind of traditional woodblock inspired Japanese artwork on cards like Sin and Stiltskin. Here is more of an anime style artwork done on Cecil.
That art on
with
Cecil on the left looks dope.
Game. The
Yeah,
game
that looks
title
more
with
like a
Roman
box
numerals
cover art,
behind
doesn't
the
it?
Character. So
That's something that, when we showed it quickly earlier, it's easy to miss, but I think that is a really cool feature on this.
Yep. So just another very just awesome, beautiful art style.
Yeah, I just confirmed it
as well
at
as the extended art here,
$455 per box
if you're a super fan of
on Amazon. The pre-order's
I
already
love that
sold
these
out.
Characters stand out.
We don't
One
know
thing
how
I
many there
especially love
were,
about those early games is,
but that was
look,
fast.
I love a lot of early Final Fantasy games. One was
Yeah.
one of the first games I ever purchased, like I said. But it is pixels at the end of the day, and you don't get the characters in as high resolution as you would here. So Magic lets you bring all this to life in this
Yeah.
artwork, which is cool. This is a collection of all the games with our incredible artists.
How do you want us to paint your
drawing
armor,
these
Cecil?
Characters,
I'm thinking blue and
illustrating
white
them,
stripes.
and bring them to life in ways
Yeah.
you've never seen before. And
I'm
so,
thinking blue
I
and
played
white
Final Fantasy IV,
stripes.
Cecil didn't look this awesome. Like, this is so cool to see right here, So I love, especially with the earlier games, bringing that to life. And
Jake will be Jake will be here soon, and we will talk about
very popular character. So it's cool to do that there.
$455 collector
you
boxes
mentioned
being
villains
sold
a
out
few times.
nearly instantly.
Let's take a look at our next double-faced card.
Oh yeah.
Quite the story here with this double.
What is this one?
Yeah, Emmett Selk. I mean, this is.
so this is a
we showed this
14?
art previously, and people flipped out about it. Emmett Selk is a super favorite character for Final Fantasy XIV. And Cameron Williams on my set design team, I talked about how I have a person for every game. Cameron Williams is a huge Final Fantasy XIV fan.
Yeah.
So much so that the only time I ever see him take vacation is when like the new Final Fantasy XIV raid drops, right? He'll like go and be like, sorry, I couldn't come to the meetings. I gotta go play Final Fantasy XIV. He's super into it, and he is amazing at his job.
he did so much for the set. He did such an incredible job.
Incredible job. And when it came to 14, he was always my expert, and we had to get Emmett right, absolutely. And so we made a card, right? This is a pretty awesome
Huge
card.
character in the MMO.
Looter. Okay, it's pretty solid. That turns into Yawgmoth's Will on the backside. Permanent Yawgmoth's Will. I'll tell you, if you transform this, you are not going to lose. It's very hard to lose when you transform this. And as it turns out, getting 14 cards in your graveyard, not that hard when you have a lot of self-mill stuff going on.
That's a pretty specific number on getting cards in your graveyard. Was that a tweak from design? Like, where did that come from?
Well, one thing in Final Fantasy XIV is they do a lot of calling out numbers of things that reference them. Final Fantasy has this across the board. And in
Emmett is
14,
one of the
there's a lot
best
14.
villains.
So we put
That's
14
cool.
on the card, and I told play design, I told casual play design, If we got to change the 14, I'll understand. But if you suggest 13 or 15, you better have a really good reason for changing away from 14, right? And eventually, it just stuck the whole way through as 14. We play tested it, and actually, the feedback I got was weirdly, it was about right. I guess it was right the whole time. So excited for you to play this card because it is, yeah, I mean, a bit of card selection, really strong, but also just slamming this late, flipping it on your upkeep and turning it into Eternal Yawgmoth's Will is quite the magic card. So
all right, I'll look up
Emmett is powerful, and I love, if you go to the next slide here, I love the Borderless character version here. You're so sassy. You get kind of the other side of Emmett Selk here.
Yes, absolutely. As well as that extended art, I
love the Hades art. That's
part
so
of it is
tight.
The character focused shot on one side, and then more of the kind of environment and general storytelling of what exists within the main set artwork. So just absolutely incredible.
One thing that's really cool about having multiple treatments for a lot of these cards is that there are so many stories that a character will tell, and Emmett shows up, of course, in 14 again and again and again. So seeing him in a couple different moments, a couple different places is really cool, and something that I'm stoked we got to do here with these extra treatments.
Now, one thing we haven't spent much time on is the flavor text, but I've seen some people in chat call the flavor.
This will be in
text,
standard. Doesn't this play really well with that Oculus card that has been annoying the shit out of me?
Oh my God, the lore text is the same thing he said when you defeat it. So how much attention did the team pay to that sort of moment in the game to pull flavor text?
All of the attention.
Yeah, truly. The spreadsheets.
This is 100% Dylan Devaney, the creative lead for the set. Spent many long hours replaying games, watching playthroughs of games, looking through, the dialogue boxes and everything to really pull from, to make the set feel authentic.
No Final Fantasy Tactics stuff so far, Fruit, but I think that'll be like casual side references, man. I don't think we're going to get much attention on that.
Our team
We've seen a Sephiroth, but it was the like starter kit version. It was kind of bad.
Have to suggest them back to us.
It was basic. I'll say that. It was basic.
So, yeah, and then in terms of some of the Final Fantasy 14 stuff, I know there's all kinds of famous quotes, and we wanted to make sure to get those on a bunch of cards. So, of course, I can't tell you what they are yet.
Just trust us.
But there are some other really iconic ones in there, so you can take some guesses of what those might be. But yeah, we got some good ones for you.
All right, so the DFCs
it is nice to see
so
two lead designers on this be so excited about it.
Transform, but there's another type of DFC.
Yeah, so
thing is, you don't get that.
We did a lot of play tests,
times.
Fun with it. You get all the heroes,
from just a random standard set,
which is a huge part of Final Fantasy, but also is not the only part of Final Fantasy. Feedback I kept getting was, okay, I mean, I love this, but in Final Fantasy,
Travis, that might also line up too, because we haven't found out what the like special thing is in the gift bundle yet, and you know it's going to be something exclusive
already. So I was like, what if we turn some of these mini games into double-faced cards where you get the reward at the end? And I love the idea, and it just stuck. Took a lot of work on iterating on them, but they turned out pretty cool. So let's pull it up on the screen here. Fishing side quest. Of course, there's a fishing mini game. Even in Magic the Gathering now, we got a fishing mini game. It's actually a good year for fishing mini games between this and I guess fishing rod in the fishing pole foundations. Yeah. But there's 5 uncommon mini games. They're all from different games, so I'll let you guess what they might be. But a bit of speculation out there for you. But they all have the side quests on the front side, and then on the back side, when you complete their quest, you get the reward from it. So here, you got to go fishing, and when you catch that fish, you eventually get to build your cooking campsite and cook that fish up, which is a lot of fun. And this references, of course, Final Fantasy 15, and I love that food token too. 15 has a very different kind of aesthetic than a lot of the Final Fantasies, and it really shows like,
that's not
hey, this is a bit of a different game than the other ones, you know. And there's a delicious meal your fish have lent you right there. So yeah, this is a very cool little thing, and I look forward to seeing what your guess is for the.
Yeah, Travis, airline Wi-Fi. They're gonna flag that if it's over $1,000.
The next card we're going to talk about, I think, is one of the coolest mechanical innovations to show off a part of Final
here we go.
Fantasy.
Creature sagas.
So let's talk a bit about summons.
All right.
Yeah, so this is something that Yanni and his team, the Division Design team,
new card type, ladies and gentlemen,
I thought was absolutely brilliant and a huge new tentpole direction to take this kind of set in. So summons, if you're not familiar with Final Fantasy, are these characters that you summon to the fight. They are really powerful, they do some cool stuff, and then they kind of make a big move and go away. That's kind of their thing. Now, depending on the game, exactly how that would work might differ a little bit, but that's kind of the gist of summons. And how could we capture that on a Magic card, right? And we tried a lot of things. I know they tried out mechanics like fading or vanishing, but that didn't quite feel right. And so they finally hit on something that was a perfect fit. So let's bring up Shiva here.
All right, here we go.
These are something we've never seen in Magic before, but are yet a perfect blending, and that is enchantment creature sagas. So what they are is they work exactly like how you would imagine a fusion of the two work. You play it, you do the first chapter right away, They can attack and block as normal, and then each turn you go to the next chapter, and after the third chapter, they go away. So you play Shiva here, you tap one of their creatures, the next turn
Oh,
tap
you
another one of
sack
their
it at the
creatures,
end, too.
and then on the
Fully
third
a
turn,
saga,
you
but
will,
also a
get
creature.
to activate the ultimate ability here, you Diamond Dust, you draw a card for all your opponent's tapped creatures, and the saga goes away. And there's a lot of pretty fun gameplay intention here. Of like,
Interesting.
Okay, do I want to attack? Do I want to block? If
Pretty
I'm the
thirsty
opponent,
art.
do I want to spend a
Jeez.
removal spell? on
Great
it? 'Cause it
design.
can go away in
Love
2
that
turns
design.
anyway. Do I want them to get
Actually
their
really
effects?
cool.
So there's a lot of fun
Actually
interplay.
really cool.
And I also love a couple cool things here. This is the first time you've seen flavor text on sagas. There's this text box here at the bottom. We got flavor text there. Of course, this is the only one you're seeing today, but that might not be the only text that goes in that little space. And then also, first time we're doing, I think, Borderless sagas. Isn't that right, Zakil?
Absolutely. So this is the first time we've ever done Borderless sagas. Of course, that woodblock art style is coming back.
What is everybody saying this means, Bahamut?
One other thing I'll mention is that of all of the summons in the set, they do appear at all rarities.
Oh, wait.
So summons are
Tiamat
such a
and Bahamut,
significant
that was
portion,
from
or play such a
early
significant role in the DNA of Final
1, 2, or
Fantasy.
3, right?
You will encounter summons from common.
the dragon. Was
Yeah,
it Bahamut or
absolutely.
Tiamat that
And,
gave them like their first
I
big
talked
class
earlier about how we
change?
wanted to make sure that
Okay,
as
so
more
Tiamat
rarities,
gave
sagas
them their
we really
first big
recognize.
class
Well, these are
change
things that are pretty
in an
common throughout
early
most
Final Fantasy.
games. So this
And
one,
Bahamut
even though
was
it's
a
from Final
different
Fantasy
one.
X, you could have seen a
Gotcha.
version of it in so many different games that it's
Oh,
really
Bahamut.
cool
That makes sense. Bahamut,
you get to
Tiamat
see
being
this and
in
you might
different-
recognize it from whatever
in a
game
lot of
you
different
happen to
games.
receive it from.
Having some stuff like that
And,
crossover, that makes
This
sense.
is a really incredible new mechanic. I cannot wait for you to play with it.
That's awesome.
It is so much fun to get to play with this new twist on things. And it's funny. We saw someone guess this last week actually on social media, which was crazy. We've been looking at all the threads for ages. No one's ever come close on Saga creatures, and last week someone got it. So if you're that person, hats off to you. Well done.
All right, so I want to
Yeah,
I want
Travis.
to give you.
I don't know if you
a
saw that art on the
moment
left,
to
but damn.
kind of build up this next part because through the ages is an aspect of the set that I think is really special.
Yeah, absolutely. So, as we were going through development of this set, so much of the creative concepting came from original source material artwork, right? If you're trying to bring Final Fantasy 1, 2, really all the way up to really the modern games from 1 to 10, you're looking at a lot of artwork.
Oh, it's
a lot of
always, you're saying
very
it's
prolific
always been that
illustrations
way
that
since the
that have
beginning.
existed for
Shiva
30
has
plus
been
years.
a
And of course,
lustful
that
object for
artwork is
young
very
men
recognizable to the
for a
Final
long
Fantasy
time.
artwork. It's also just
Young men and
amazing,
young women.
beautiful fantasy illustrations. And about halfway through development, as we're kind of riffing off of, okay, this is the original image and this is what it'll look like in the Magic house art style, I look at Gavin, I look at Dylan Devaney and Daniel Holt, and we're just like, we should just put these on cards. Like, people would just love these. So the Final Fantasy Through the Ages bonus sheet is a unique
Through the Ages
program
bonus
launching
sheet.
with Magic the Gathering Final Fantasy that takes source material artwork from the original Final Fantasy games of the past 35 plus years and places them on reprints within the Magic universe. So here are
Yeah,
two
it's
cards.
looking like that,
The
Travis,
first
unless
one's
it
from
has
Final
haste.
Fantasy 1. This is artwork done by Yoshitaka
Or it has 4
Amano,
chapters.
as the Dragon of Mount Gulg, as a reprint of Ancient Copper Dragon, as well as Yuffie Kisarage as Yuriko the Tiger's Shadow from Final Fantasy VII with artwork done by
That
Tetsuya
dragon
Nomura.
card looks so
You
sick.
can expect concept art and you can expect the Final Fantasy Through the Ages concept artwork to appear for each individual game.
That's
from
a cool
1 to
looking
16.
card, dude.
And of course, anytime we get to work again with Yoshitaka
Yeah, that's
Amano
right,
with
Travis.
Tetsuya
So unless
Nomura,
it's a 4-chapter thing or unless
it's
it has
absolutely
haste,
amazing.
you got it.
I will say that this is kind of a the Amano is may be associated with the set in multiple different ways, but it was nice to be able to pick up some of the original concept art and really bring it to life within Magic, and perhaps there's a couple more surprises along the way.
Yeah, and getting to play with these cards is so fun. too,
Show
because while they
us
are
the
not standard
headliner.
legal, this is a
Show
bonus sheet,
us
they're
the
not
headliner.
there. You
I
can
wanna
draft these a
see
little
the
bit.
headliner.
It's pretty fun to get to throw a haymaker from the top rope down and be like, wow, didn't expect to see this here, okay, or I didn't expect to get ninjutsu or whatever, it's pretty cool. So there's a lot of fun to be had with these cards.
Oh, I know,
and
Obi.
They're just gorgeous.
They just look
Like, We
cool.
actually
That's all I'm
got
saying.
the first ever packs in a couple weeks ago, and just to look through them, which was an amazing day for us. But we got to open some of these up and see what they look like, and they are incredible. And bring that
Yeah,
concept
Blake
art is so
definitely
beloved,
giving the
and
my
images
kids
are so
love
beloved
this
from
stuff. I don't get
games
it,
to life
but
on a
they
Magic
sure
card.
do love
It's
it.
just amazing.
Energy
It's really
hard.
amazing.
Yeah, and so just to make sure, I'm seeing some questions in chat. Just to make sure,
Very
to clarify,
supportive of his sons
the
here.
bonus keys is not legal in standard, but will be in play boosters, and you can.
Oh my
Correct.
god.
They are in play and collector boosters, legal and limited, not legal and standard.
Right, they don't change format legality, but they are awesome.
Yes.
And there's some weird sideways decks you can definitely draft with them. So I'll tell you a story after sets come out about it, one of the weirdest decks I ever saw drafted.
All right, now let's move into talking about Commander, the Commander design. So there are four Commander decks. You may have seen the article on IGN yesterday. I know a ton of people checked that out and looked at the 4 face cards. We're going to talk a little bit more about those. So let's go deck by deck and talk about each of the decks. So here is Revival Trance. Tell us what we're doing here.
Yeah, so first of all, what I'll kind of kick off with is we're trying to figure out what we wanted to do for the 4 decks for Final Fantasy. And we talked about a lot of different things, but the thing that really struck us was let's do them based around different games. Like, let's pick a game and make a deck a pretty bespoke thing around that game.
When I was watching the plot line for Final Fantasy 3,
I
mean 6, this one, Final Fantasy 6, it's very interesting. Not really a main character in
4
that.
games to kind of focus on. And one of
Terra
my
makes the
favorites,
most sense. I think she's the main
from the Pixel
like
era, is Final
focus,
Fantasy
but
6. And of course, Terra heading that deck.
who
up.
the
Now,
story
this
is
a
focused on was
black,
bouncing
white,
around the whole
red,
time. It was
kind of
interesting.
graveyardy deck. And specifically, I thought a cool
Look at
thing
that
Daniel
Borderless.
did was this focuses on kind of the second part of the game, when you're bringing back your whole party, which really makes sense for the kind of graveyardy theme. And that's what Terra's doing here, right? She's trying to recruit your own whole party. Now, if
Yeah, it really
this
is,
not
caveman.
the Terra you want to play with, don't worry. For these many of these characters, we have other versions in the main set for you. So there's lots of options. But this is the one on the face of the Commander deck.
Love having the face
And,
commanders have alternate versions
pretty
inside a
cool
collector
take
product.
on this
That is,
character,
I
and
wish
a
they would
really
do it
unique
every
way of
time.
kind of making the bring back to graveyard meld well with the story of Final Fantasy of you're getting stuff back from the yard. And they also get these borderless character treatments, right, Ezekiel?
Yep. So each of the face commanders
God,
gets
that in
borderless
foil?
character card treatments that are available in collector booster.
That in foil is
as
gonna
well as
smack.
The extended art treatment as well. So very, very cool.
Now, I want to linger on something here because I think it's one of the coolest features of these Commander decks is, the main set has, all 16 mainline games, but each Commander deck draws from one game, and it's like you're playing just that one game, right?
Yeah, above the land row, right? So the lands
Yeah.
we kind of grabbed a mix of, from different games, so some of them repeat across the deck
Sure.
and so on. But if it's a spell, it is themed to that game, which is really cool, right? We got all new artwork for these that all are set in the universe of that game. There's a ton of cool new cards and some new great reprints that have been refaced. So lots of fun was had there. And it really, like, when
Correct,
you look
Last
at
Samurai.
these things, there's like bespoke representation of the game, right? You look at it and it feels like you were holding a bit of Final Fantasy VI's story in your hands.
Yeah, absolutely. It is not to get too romantic. It is very emotional to see many of these decks, specifically the Final Fantasy X-1 for me, just to relive. The team did such an amazing job just telling the story and reliving just amazing moments from that game.
And once again, like
From all the games. But
we all worked really closely together on this, right? We're always talking about what we wanted to do and what games we wanted to represent. And in the case of design, like Daniel Holt led the Commander decks, I led the main set, and we worked really closely to make sure that these characters are very popular. I'll make 4 main set versions of them that are going to be great for the main set. You'll make 4 Commander versions of them.
You will feel as if they are. You are the Final Fantasy.
I'm really happy with what he came up with.
Now, when these were revealed
That's a good
yesterday,
one. That screenshot didn't look good, though. I got to get a better
we
one.
did get a lot of questions about MTG Arena. Now, typically, Commander cards don't come to Arena, but Final Fantasy is a really special set. People are super stoked that it's going to be on Arena. Zakiel, I understand we did something a little different for Commander and Arena this time.
Yep. So all
They're like, we put Commander on
4
Arena.
face commanders
Congratulations.
and
This
4
is the
backup
announcement.
Commanders for each of the Commander decks, so a total of 8 cards will be available on Arena.
Okay.
So be able to play
We've
them
done that.
online and
We've
have
done
fun
that
with
before.
Great.
And
You got to get people's favorite characters on there. Yeah.
Of course, in addition
Outlaws
to
of
the
Thunder
full main set, of
Junction
course, will
had
be in Arena
them,
as well,
yeah.
so you
among
can
others.
go ahead and draft your heart's content, which I know I'm excited to do. So.
I'm
All
always
right,
snipping
let's
screenshots,
move
Michael.
on to
My tweets have gotta
the
come
next
from
deck,
somewhere, bro.
Surely to be a favorite. Limit Break featuring Cloud.
Now, Chad, is this a main character?
Green, white deck full of equipment and trying to get your power up to 7. It's got Cloud on the front. You know him. You love him. It's Cloud from Final Fantasy VII. He's got a huge sword. There are also, as you might imagine, huge swords in the deck to put on your creatures and try and get their powers all the way up to 7, so you can hit kind of that threshold bonus. So another instance of the number 7, game number mattering here. So there's a bit of that going throughout the set. Kind of my line in both Commander and main set was, let's not do that if it's the wrong design, but if it's the right design, let's do it.
Nico, what's up?
Right? So there's a bit of that going on, which is a lot of fun.
Yeah, this is
And
Pikachu, from what I've
it's
heard.
the Final Fantasy 7 Commander deck. It's cool. It's amazing. It's the bespoke experience.
Trying to collect all the...
for Final Fantasy 7 Magic.
What are they, Dragon Balls?
I don't know more I can
So you
say,
make a
but
wish or something?
it's sick. And that Borderless character card is pretty cool.
Whoa! I didn't even notice that it's the
We previously
Roman
said
numeral
this,
of the
but,
game behind
as a
them.
reminder, each of the deck does come in 2 versions. The regular.
I didn't even
Commander deck
notice when
has
we were
2
looking at
foil
Terra.
face cards, as well as the total 100-card deck, and then the collector
Dude.
commander, which is entirely
Dude.
a cool collectible.
Dude,
surge foil
not
commander.
only is the cloud art on the Borderless
Shiny foil.
sick as hell,
Wow, who might those be? I can't think of anybody.
but the
Now,
giant
the next
Roman numeral
question
behind him is
from
so
chat,
cool.
Goes for any of these commander decks, but obviously it came up here with
Damn.
the Cloud. Are we
Good
going
designs.
to see main set versions?
Good
of these characters
designs.
as well?
Yeah, I'll say that all 4 of the face commanders for the commander decks have main set versions.
Okay.
One of the cool things about that we did with the commander decks is we were able to, because they're entirely bespoke representations of their decks, and the main set only has so many card slots, is we were able to fill some of the other characters that didn't have room in the main set in these commander decks.
Yeah.
But the face characters, absolutely. All the face characters you'll find the versions of in the main set. So if you want another version of Cloud to play around with, don't worry, I got one for you. And it's sick. Let me tell you right now, it's sick.
All right.
Who is the main
let's hear
character
about our
in
next
Kingdom
deck,
Hearts?
Counterpoint.
Is that a Final Fantasy
Yeah,
person?
this
Because they
is
look a
the
lot
Final
like this
Fantasy
guy,
X
right?
Commander deck, green, white, and blue. featuring
Mr. T-Tie here?
As the commander there. And the thing I really love here is in Final Fantasy X, you have the sphere grid. If you've ever played that game, I know you might have spent many hours.
name is-
I know I did.
That's
on the screen
Sora,
trying to make
and
sure
that's
you
not
can
a Final
min-max
Fantasy
all your
character.
abilities
That's
and
like
how they
a
work out.
made up for that
And
game
it really
character.
kind of feels like you're moving counters around, and it's very
Yeah, I know it's a
fun,
mix-up of Disney
thing
Final
where
Fantasy. I
you
just didn't know
figure
if the
out
main
that
character was
counters
like
and sphere grid
new
kind
or
of
a Final
really nice
Fantasy thing
mashup
or a
there.
Disney thing.
And so as you're kind of like figuring out how to
Got it.
spec your abilities properly, you get to enhance your characters the way you want.
Not
to.
gonna
So
lie,
it's
one of
not
the
only
things
like a
I've
great
noticed, some of
flavor
these
set
character
and really feels
designs,
like Final Fantasy X,
you
but
can
will
go,
spend a turn
is
there
that
trying to
the same
min-max all your
character?
counters, just like I was on
Some
the
of them
sphere
have
grid
wild,
with Final
crazy,
Fantasy X.
outlandish
So it's a
designs, but
very,
some
very
of them are
cool,
like
take on it, and that was a smart thing to
another
come up with.
blonde boy with
I do have to ask because chat
Really
is all
anime
over
hair.
this, and we've seen a lot of comments on social media. Blitzball, is it represented in the deck?
I will tell you that we know about Blitzball. We love Blitzball. There might be places where Blitzball appears. That is a side quest that was very popular. I mentioned those 5 side quests earlier. Well, who knows? Maybe Blitzball is one of them.
There you go.
Maybe there's multiple Blitzball cards. I'm not going to tell you right now, but yeah, we know some of you just want to go play Blitzball all day, so we wanted to make sure that you would be able to represent that here. I know I spent way too long trying to win the Blitzball championship. Beating Sin, who cares? I got to win the league. So yeah, I feel that. I feel that, chat.
Zakil, anything to add about this deck, or Titus, or Blitzball if you want?
Yeah, Final Fantasy X is my favorite deck. There's a lot of nothing to add right now. I think as we get a little bit closer to debut, this is mechanically this deck it plays so well.
Okay.
The team did such a great
That's
job.
a little different for sure.
But I'll leave it at that.
Yeah.
But you can see how I
for
was
now,
like-
for another.
Like, you have to understand that
We
me and
all
Zakil
hold
could
our
really sit in a
swords
room
on our
talking about these
shoulder.
cards for like half a day, and I'm not exaggerating. Like, we have stories for every single card. We are a tight knit crew that's worked on the design of these, so it has been pretty amazing.
And you'll probably do that once everything's out.
Yes,
Yeah.
almost certainly.
Publish the 12-hour podcast.
Yeah, the extended cast.
Now Blake's giving
All
him
right.
shit.
We've got one more deck to talk about. Let's take a look at.
Sorry, I called it a
Scions and
sword. That's a keyblade. It's
Spellcraft.
clearly a
Yes, Final Fantasy
keyblade.
14. of
I
course,
humbly
bringing that to life
present
here
my
in this deck.
my contrition
And,
to
this is
you.
something we haven't really seen before, which is an
I'm
Esper
sorry, it's a
spell slinger
keyblade.
deck, wanting you to cast big spells to try and drain your opponent, or at least a little bigger than just a bunch of cantrips.
My
And,
wife.
a great fit for the character once again, right? You get to drain them for a little bit, and then once you cast spells, so fits Ishtola really nicely.
Yeah, absolutely. One thing I'll just say about Final Fantasy 14, we were very cautious.
Oh, I
very
heard you call it a
conscientious
sword.
of
I'm just gonna let that one
making sure
go.
that the gameplay experience.
Nope, never mind. Can't.
and,
Gotta say it. That's keyblade.
Kind of identity of Final Fantasy 14 specifically really shined through in this collaboration. A lot of our team members, again, you had mentioned Cameron earlier.
Shall we work on this?
FF14 players, like the FF14 audience here at Wizards.
Shall we
really
work on
loves,
this later?
FF14 and put a lot of intentionality in these designs. So
Little work in
If you're a fan
progress
of that,
commander deck.
If you're a
that
Magic
runs
fan of
Grand
FF14,
Arbiter
just trust us,
Augustin?
we got some stuff
What?
cooking.
Yeah, and I think especially was interesting because it's such a massive game, and there isn't like necessarily one main hero, right? Because
Right.
you are the hero. That it was a really fun design.
Sorry, I
exercise
was
here where we
blocking
wanted to
Cat
pull
Girl for
everything up,
everybody.
and,
Oh,
yeah, I can't
really?
wait to show you how we represented it all, but this deck is full of ways to show it off. So,
Yep.
you'll
I
get to
want
see it
that
all in the
Y'shtola
next-
too.
All right, we've got about 10 minutes left.
I want
We've
that
got one more thing
Y'shtola.
to show. I
Give
was
me
debating
that
whether we do a
Y'shtola.
Q&A because they have to be very tight-lipped right now. There's so much they want to say and so much they can't, and I'm afraid of opening that floodgate.
We'll
But
be
we're
good,
gonna
Blake, I
we're
promise
gonna
we'll
do
be
it. We're gonna give about maybe 5 minutes for a Q&A, which we'll do after we show this
at
next
Magic.
thing. If you have a question, it helps me find it if you tag at Magic first.
Serialized or
I will ask the question. There is no
Headliner?
guarantee we'll be able to answer it. Maybe
Is
they'll
there
give
one
wink,
in
wink,
this
nod, nod
set?
hints. I don't know. We'll find out. But we'll do it.
Chat, y'all got any questions for him? I can drop them in chat for y'all.
Before we do that,
I'm asking about
we had
serialized and
mentioned the
headliners.
starter kit earlier. Let's take a closer look at the starter kit.
So yeah, this is the starter kit for Magic.
At Magic.
Final Fantasy.
Are we getting body
Very
pillows in the
obviously,
Chaos
gonna
Vault?
pick 2 characters.
I love that one,
from the
actually.
franchise, right here.
Right. Come on and learn how to play Magic. Here's Sephiroth and Cloud. Battle. Right?
Yeah.
I mean, it's perfect.
One quick note before we get into the designs: the entire
It's in
starter kit,
slow mode.
again,
I've gotta
is
wait 9
standard
seconds
legal.
to ask
you're
if
a
we're
new
gonna get a
player
body
coming into
pillow.
Magic, you can purchase this, battle your friends, open up some packs, upgrade your deck, and go to your local game store and start to learn competitive play.
Yeah, and I'll say that this Sephiroth and Cloud are the ones in the starter kit. There are, once again, versions of both these characters in the main set as well, so there are other versions. These are standard legal, but there are other ones in the main set for you to go play. With that said, this Sephiroth is not messing around especially. Like, it comes in, -2/-2s all your opponent's
Yeah,
creatures.
it's not an
and then it gets
awful
big. It's like a
Sephiroth.
mini Massacre Worm. So, for starter deck face cards, like I said, these are not messing around, but there are other versions of Cloud and Sephiroth in the main set, so stay tuned, I guess is what I'll say. Stay tuned.
All right. Let's see what questions we can dodge. All right. Let's start here. Do the Borderless cards come in non-foil?
Yes.
Great.
Boom, one question.
One question, and we answered it. You kind of talked about this earlier, but how long did this set take
Yeah,
to
6 is
develop,
allowed for Commander.
start to finish?
Well,
4 years, I think, in total.
Yeah.
In terms of the entire collaboration is closer to 5. The
I'm seeing lots of
development
questions for the
is
tactics
just
lovers in
about
our chat. I'm seeing lots of questions
A
about
long time.
tactics in their
Long
chat too.
time. I mean, yeah.
So
had
it had to be on
stop
their
and
mind.
play
You know
the
that
game.
had to come up.
Play
They
them
know
again,
those
you might as
games
well
are.
have- yeah.
One of the things
Is
that
that
we
like
had
the most
mentioned earlier,
beloved
so
offshoot
this
of
was the
Final
first,
Fantasy? It's not called Kingdom Hearts.
Collaboration set that we've ever made that was simultaneously built in English and in Japanese.
Mm-hmm.
So as we're going through development, as we were developing our creative text and really identifying things, all of our working development files we would create in English and then be translated into Japanese and shared with Square Enix. And we traveled to Tokyo. I think the team went, 4 different times for play testing, all kinds of different, workshops, world building stuff. So it's been quite the 4-year experience.
Also, one thing that was pretty cool.
Oh, yeah,
is,
I
I'll
forgot
tell
about
you,
Crystal
A lot has
Chronicles.
happened in the past 4 years, but one thing that definitely happened is a new Final Fantasy game came out.
Right.
And so it was fun to get to work with Square to incorporate that game into the set as well. So you didn't see anything from 16 today, but 16 is in there, and that was a fun little collaborative exercise too.
All right, you mentioned the pixel era a few times, Gavin. Will there be pixel art on cards?
Stay tuned.
Okay.
So
Some of
secret layer.
Some of the answers may be like that. That's okay. All right.
So secret layer.
There's okay. Actually, let's go here. Any content from the remake trilogy?
It's a great question. So for Final Fantasy VII, the main narrative story that we are telling is focused on the original game. There are some nods to remake and rebirth in things like costuming or kind of scene landscape updates. But canonically, we are not telling the story of remake or rebirth in this product, as well as you will not see things like Crisis Core, Advent Children. The main focus is on the original games with a couple nods to costuming, which just helps in terms of
Only main
as
lines.
you're trying to adapt pixel and kind of low count polygon designs into high fantasy illustrations.
Okay. There are a ton of questions. Please tell me this is in the set. My favorite is blink aggressively if there's a Buster Sword. Thanks, Gavin.
I didn't say anything, Blake. I didn't say anything. I'll say this to answer a lot of your questions.
Yes.
If it is super obvious, it is probably in the set. There's a good chance. If it is your favorite hero, your favorite villain from one of the main 16 games,
like you're not going to make.
There's a very, very, very good chance it is in the set.
Yeah, I would say just
we
as
just
a reminder,
couldn't nail down
everyone who
Buster
worked on the
Sword.
set
That sounds
is
so
a lifelong
stupid.
fan of Final Fantasy, so we were very, very intentional about making sure that many of the characters from throughout the entire series are represented. So.
Yeah. So I mean, is it possible? Maybe there's one or two that are left on the sidelines. Maybe, but like all the main characters should be.
Yeah,
there.
I was
They'll
gonna
have a little
say,
grid of,
like, that's
all
gonna
the
be
main
some
heroes and
deep
villains to look
lore
at, and plenty of side characters too.
Stuff
and with the
that's
commander
forgotten
decks,
or
like I
left
said, you can
out.
blow out those side characters even more, right? It's like, okay, we didn't have room.
That's
for
the one
this
thing I
person
think
in the
we can
main
be
set,
sure of
but
with any of these
because,
IP sets is that
Final
the thing
Fantasy,
you're
you get to put
expecting to
those
be in there is
characters
going to
in
be
the
in
main
there.
characters. So tons and tons of room for stuff.
All right. Can you share the sort of ratio of new cards to reprints in the commander decks?
Not today.
Okay. I'm glad Ezekiel answered for me. I was just going to tell you.
Let's see. What can we answer?
I don't know what materia is, Grayson. I haven't heard them mention that today.
Here's an interesting development question, Gavin.
That's true, Jake.
We could probably spend a long time on this, but so Standard has changed a lot over the last 4 years. How difficult was it to keep this set in line with Standard over that time frame?
Yeah, I mean, this set went through all of our normal Standard playtesting rigor. We had our whole play design team play it. We balanced it with Standard in mind. We put a lot of energy and work into making sure it would be great in Standard and all other formats too, right? This is legal everywhere, so there's shots for a lot of different places that show up in this set. And then Limited, we also drafted it a ton. It's a really fun Limited
Materia
experience,
is
in my
Magic?
opinion.
Oh, okay,
Obviously,
that's
I
the
am
Magic
incredibly
system.
biased, so take that as you will. But I can't wait. I know when it comes out on Arena, I'm going to just be jamming draft after draft after draft. So I cannot wait for you to all be able to check it out that way. But yeah, we put all of our normal energy and intention. It wasn't like we took any shortcuts. Like we put all the energy we wanted to into this to make sure it would be the best set possible.
All right, we are just about out of time. We'll go with one last question. Will there be any secret layers?
I can confirm there will be,
Okay,
and I'll leave it at that.
there we go.
Are there any other little?
Are
projects
y'all
hiding around
going
the
to
corner
do
people
the
wanna
same money-making things that y'all do for most sets,
Okay,
especially
fair
with the
enough.
giant
That's
IP
all we're gonna say.
crossover?
All right,
Yeah,
we are
we're going to.
just about out of time. Thank you for tuning in to this first look at Final Fantasy. We are obviously going to be chomping at the bit to come back and share more. We're going to tie Zakiel down and keep him from making public appearances until the time is right.
Can't catch me!
That time is going to be June 13th. So the global release for Magic the Gathering Final Fantasy is June 13th. The debut will obviously be before that. We will share more information on when you can learn more about Final Fantasy VII as we get a little bit closer. So stay tuned for more information. Now, as many people in chat pointed out, there are pre-orders for this available now, today, this morning. And so we can throw the product shots back up there. There's not going to be a show next week or the week after for Weekly MTG because we are going to be traveling to MagicCon Chicago this weekend.
Woo-woo, see you there.
On Friday, lots of new information.
Whoa, Benjamin Johnson coming through with the 5 gifted. Yo, if you got a gifted membership from Ben, make sure you say thank you. All hail our new stream monarch, Benjamin Johnson. Let me get some crowns in chat for Ben Johnson. Right there at the end of the reveal. Thank you very much. Hey, if you're hanging out with us today, we definitely appreciate it. I'm Joel from Jake and Joel Are Magic. If that's all you wanted to see, please hit that subscribe button and that like button on your way out. We are trying to get to 100,000 subs by the end of the year, and that would appreciate that. We would appreciate that greatly. That would be awesome. Those are 2 sentences that I mashed together. Jake should be joining us any minute, and we will get back on discussing some of these cards. Want to shout out our sponsors real quick. Card Conduit, the best place to go and sell your cards quickly and easily online. TCG Player is the best place to buy them. Dragon Shield's the best way to protect them. And Moxfield is the best way to put your deck lists online. I'm getting Travis saying call me in and Jake saying jumping on shortly. So we will see Jake shortly. Travis, thank you very much. I do appreciate it. Jank, we appreciate it. Yeah, who's going to Chicago? Yeah, the pre-orders are we're gonna say gone. Currently unavailable. Let's check this out. So from all of my sources, I'm seeing, chat, that these are the MSRPs. I put out some feelers. Whoops, wrong button. I put out some feelers as we were going through that. And all of this is being confirmed. You can see the packs and the boxes completely unavailable at this point. The things that we won't know necessarily are how many they had left. You know what I'm saying? Be right back. Going over to watch the Marvel Rivals mid-season update stream. As of right now, I mean, 209 for a play box. A little bit cheaper. A little bit cheaper. It's something, it is, oh man. It's interesting. It's very interesting. Because this is essentially confirmation that Universes Beyond IP tax is going to be consistent across the board. Yeah, Charles, for sure. Remember that. Early hype. That's what I was saying. Early hype. You're going to get some insano prices. Let's see if Forge and Fire's got theirs up yet. Not quite. Well, I'm sure they already have listings on eBay for sure. That's not shocking. Oh, this is infinite. So we don't have them up yet. $400 for a Modern Horizons 3 collector box. These sold out at, what, $455? What were they? Ay, 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 ay. 450, 445, yeah. Yeah, completely sold out at 455. Again, we don't know how many they put up here. This could have been a test. This could have been like, we need to make X much in this quarter before it's over. We can do that with the Final Fantasy pre-orders. You know. Could be very, very simple. Ladies and gentlemen, joining me now, it's a Jacob. Hello, man. How are you? Can you hear me? There we are. What's up, man? How you doing?
Hey, what's up, bro? I am so sorry, chat. I scheduled my therapy before all of these announcements because they're all impromptu.
Wizards does not ask us before they schedule against how we have scheduled, unfortunately. So we adjust where we can and we don't where we don't.
Do my job. Not here to not do my job. Just scheduled some stuff before.
Jake.
It's good to be here. What's up, man? Good morning.
Let's catch you up on the main conversation of the day.
Let's do it.
Look what I just shared to you.
All I've seen is yeah.
$210 play booster box for Final Fantasy. Collector booster boxes listed at $455, already sold out.
Ay, 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 ay.
The IP tax is real, ladies and gentlemen.
Wait a minute. Did you just say, what did you say already sold? What is already sold out?
The collector booster boxes that were put on Amazon for pre-order. We don't know what the quantities were, obviously. But
wow.
Play boosters listed at $209. This actually might be sold out now because it's not saying... Oh, there you go. There you go, chat. Of the pre-order Final Fantasy things, your play booster box, your collector booster box, and your collector edition decks already gone. Already gone, chat. At least the initial pre-order.
Count?
Now the thing is,
yeah,
as I've repeated, this is a standard set. This
what
box
were they sold out at? Did they have a what
$255?
was their...
Collector boxes were sold out at $255.
Oh, well, of fucking course they were. Jesus.
No, not $255. Sorry, $455.
Oh,
I was looking at the play booster box.
Of course they were.
Yeah, they had the play boosters for $210 and the collector boosters for $255. I can't believe they sold out so fast. No, it was up for $455.
All right, so you know what's going to happen, right? I mean, and we were just talking about this. This because we're going to make a video about it. We're going to talk about the IP tax that comes with.
It is really interesting.
Fallout.
We talked about this literally yesterday as a video to shoot tomorrow, and they have confirmed all of our worst fears here.
Yes, absolutely. So, you know, you have oh my God. First of all, we got 471 people on this video, only 100 likes. We need to get to 169 ASAP.
Oh, sorry. I didn't ask for 169 likes before the 200 or so people that only wanted to see the thing left. Look at this.
Well, it's fine. We got people hanging out. But, well, let me finish this thought really quick. But yeah, we were talking about Fallout. We were talking about Lord of the Rings. We were talking about, you know, Doctor Who, these products that got collector boxes. And with the exception of Doctor Who, a lot of these big Universes Beyond crossover products, you know, I don't know how well Assassin's Creed has done because they haven't really kept up with it. But the Fallout box is screaming towards 1,000. That's going to end up being $1,000 collector box at some point. And then also the Lord of the Rings Special Edition collector. And quite frankly, the Lord of the Rings regular collector box that came out that the Post Malone ring was pulled from. For everybody who doesn't know, there's two Lord of the Rings collector boxes. There's one that was the first one that has serialized soul rings in them, and then also had the One Ring. But then there's also this special edition collector box, and both of them have done really well. Like, both of them have done amazingly well. Like, I'm very bullish on the long term on the Lord of the Rings special edition. Like 1430, I think that's going to end up being low. And it's crazy, but you have serialized One Rings out of that go for more than Black Lotus.
In the actual F word is this 1 year chart?
Yeah. Exactly.
This is insanity.
Performing much better than any stock on the S&P 500. I'll tell you that. If you were able to freaking buy, you know, like any stock at 200 and have it at 1400 in less than a year, I mean, it's massive.
It absolutely has to be. Travis asked, it's got to be a bigger print run than Fallout and LOTR Special. I would assume play boxes 100% because it's got to be standard legal for 17 years. Collectors?
Yeah.
Let's check in on I mean,
I will never open that box.
No.
That box will be something that I sit on forever, at least minimum 10 years. I want to see where it's at in 10 years. I bet it's going to be a $5,000 box of cards.
We'll open it on the channel when we hit a million
Remind me
subs.
in 5 years. Yeah, we had 1 million subs. Yeah, we're cracking into it. But you know, the more of these big crossovers we get, you know, we have Marvel coming up, and God knows what we're going to get in the future. Wait, will you go back to that 6 month on that?
Yeah. 64% on Foundations collectors. Hadn't checked in on these in a while, so interesting to see them still climbing.
Yeah, Kyle, I agree with you. Here's the thing. beloved artists. You have one of these games that Final Fantasy is not only popular here, massively popular, all over the world, overseas. There's so much demand for Final Fantasy. I'm not saying that demand isn't there for Lord of the Rings and that kind of thing, but I agree with you. If Fallout did as well as it did, then Final Fantasy will at minimum do what Fallout has done. Minimum. I'd bet the channel on it. I would not be surprised if Final Fantasy gets right to where the Fallout collector boxes are. Like 844. I would not be surprised. Not even the tiniest bit.
I mean, these are doing the worst.
And they're still better
up
than
7% over 6 months.
Yeah. Magic is such an easier kind of economy to understand. Like it's a market that just, man, once you know it, you just kind of see through it, just like the Matrix. It's just like, yeah, sure. Yeah. I mean, it's so much easier to trade than any like stocks. It's just like buy new hot shit cheap. Boom. That's what you need to know.
So with these Final Fantasy prices kind of being confirmed, it's an interesting new era, y'all. Standard drafts for sets like Final Fantasy and Spider-Man and anything that's not announced yet.
Yeah, the only card I've seen, Travis, is the new the Cactar. I saw the plant that, I mean, I love the flavor that it gets plus 9999. I mean, I remember that in the game. If that thing hit you, you just die. Yeah,
Dom was saying that if you could only have 9,999 life max in that game, and it hits for 10k, so it's always an instant kill.
Yeah, it's very funny. I remember that thing would pop up and you'd be like, oh shit, it's a Cactar. And it was just like, yeah, it's very funny. Yeah.
Cool. Let's look at some cards. Jake.
Yeah, show me the stuff that I missed. We need to catch up here.
I want to start here because this is a new card type in Magic the Gathering called Summon. They have stapled together enchantments, creatures, and sagas into one interesting package here. So you play it for 5, and it comes in as a 4/5 creature vanilla, but you get the immediate, I guess, ETB. It's not really an ETB because it's a saga. You put the counter on it, and then you tap target creature an opponent controls, put a stun counter on it. Then in the next upkeep, you do that again, and then you're able to attack with it as a 4/5. And then on the third one, you put a counter on it, draw a card for each tap creature you control, your opponent's control, and then sack it. And it's gone. Just like a saga. I am a fan of the design. This one, power level, it's uncommon. We're not expecting a game breaker here.
I remember this.
But lots of... It's cool with a set like this that they're bringing us a brand new card type.
Limit breaks.
Well, I'm pretty sure we're going to get limit break. That's going to be a definite. He basically said if you
I mean, it's pretty cool. I'm trying to sort out how I feel about it. I think I like it. Yeah.
Yeah. I love new card types, man, especially when the designs are clean and make sense. And this is a very interesting thing to combine a creature with a story. I think that offers a lot of cool design, not only from a gameplay standpoint, but from a lore standpoint. There's a lot you can do with a creature that's also a story.
It hits so hard, which is really cool, and it makes so much sense based on how the summons work in the game. You know, you call them in, they do this big thing, and then what ends up happening is they go away, and you call them back again later. And so I think lore-wise and flavor-wise, it fits beautifully, which is really cool.
Yeah, I saw lots of people too talking about crazy dragon summon, Bahamut.
Bahamut,
that everybody was excited to have as a summon, because you would assume that. So I'm looking at this one, like the mana cost to power level ratio doesn't seem great for what I would assume a creature that can only attack once would do for you. And so I'm excited to see what the mythic summon looks like.
Yes. Yeah, this is yeah, I think flavor wise it works really well.
Yeah, Clax, this is a creature. You can
cool.
reanimate this for sure.
That's tight as shit.
100%.
That is tight as shit.
It acts just like a creature. Here's a mythic of a Final Fantasy 14 boss that everybody was enraptured with.
See, now this I don't know much about.
I don't know
but
14 at all. I haven't gotten there in my studies yet.
Yeah,
But Emmet
samesies.
Selk, Unsundered. A black, a blue, and 1 for a 2/4 with Vigi. When it ETBs or attacks, draw a card, discard a card at the beginning of your upkeep. If there are 14, he said he wrote 14 on the card, the designer Gavin. He said he wrote 14 on the card, and he told the designers, he was like, look, if this has to change for gameplay, I get it. But you better have a really good reason if it's going to be like 13 or 15. You better have a damn good reason. Because I want it to be 14 because Final Fantasy 14. You can transform it at the beginning of your upkeep if you have 14 or more cards in your graveyard, and then it transforms into Hades Sorcerer Veld, a Vigilance 6/6, that during your turn, you can play cards from your graveyard. This should look familiar to you. There's a little card called Yawgmoth's Will. And then if cards or tokens are put into your graveyard, they get exiled instead, so you don't get deaths, but that's okay.
Yeah.
That's okay.
Pretty cool.
We'll play that stuff later.
Pretty cool.
That's completely fine. We saw some of the borderless art on the character cards. Got the Roman numeral of the game they're in behind them. I think that's such a nice little touch.
That's dope.
I think that I'm very excited to see how those turn out.
What did that card say? Whenever something attacks, creatures you control get indestructible until end of turn.
Yeah, so this is a
flip?
This is a 1-mana 2/3 with a death touch that says whenever Cecil deals damage, you lose that much life, and then if your life total is less than or equal to half your starting life total, you get to untap Cecil and transform it. Cecil.
Yeah.
And it transforms into a lifelinking 4/4 that when it attacks, other attacking creatures gain indestructible.
Fuck.
Travis,
So
no,
good.
could you send me a link if we've had serialized confirmed? I would love a link on that. Had not seen that. Not shocking, but I'm interested to see how they do it.
Yogg's well in the command zone. Yeah, dude. I mean, jeez. Yeah.
And then here's what I think is the front runner for
10,000 needles, dude.
a new
There it
green
is.
card to add to the Game Changers list. And that's Jumbo Cactuar.
Yeah, man. Yes. I love the flavor of this card. This card is perfect.
Oh, it was confirmed on the collector booster box. I see.
1/7 for 7. 10,000 needles. Whenever this creature attacks, it gets 9999 until end of turn. Yeah, you know what? Give it unblockable.
Oh, dude, Gavin
Wow,
was
I'm
like,
so
yes.
smart.
Gavin was like,
I'm the
yes,
most
you
smart.
can give this thing trample. Yes, you can fling this thing. We know it. Yes, yes, of course, yes. It is death touch. It is player death touch. Yes, we get it. He was just like, yep, that's what this thing does, is it kills you.
You know what? That's what it did in the game.
Yeah.
If it did anything else, it would be a failure of design.
Got to
That's how I
attack.
feel about it.
Got to attack. Give it haste. Give it fling. Trample somebody down with an attack and then fling it at somebody else.
Should have been 12 to 15 mana. Do you think so, Kyle? I mean, it's pretty squishy. It dies to everything.
A cough.
Yeah, I mean it's very squishy, but yeah, you know, you get it in a deck with asceticism and you protect it. Yeah, it's gonna be a pretty serious card.
They showed us that they're taking the little cute things. The little cute things. WPN website. Okay, I'll look that up. They showed us
Yeah,
the
it is
little cute
basically a
things.
vanilla creature, exactly. Yeah. Tonberry.
Got a chocobo
Oh.
there. He said the chocobos are
Cute.
gonna have. Chocobos are gonna have our landfall abilities.
Look how cute that little chocobo is. That little chocobo is gonna get so big. What is the? What is this? All modern? Is it what
No,
formats
this is a
is this
standard
legal
set,
in?
brother.
This is standard.
Talk. That's why I am so
Shut the hell up.
so sort of caught off
This is
guard
standard?
by the fact that boxes are going to be $210.
Wait a minute. How have I missed the memo on this is standard?
That's what I'm
legal?
saying, man. This one, Spider-Man, and the one at the end of the year are all standard sets. that they are charging now 0.75 more percent for the boxes.
I'm gonna throw up.
I'm gonna throw up. You're gonna make me throw up.
I'm gonna throw up. Headhunter Racing with the $10 says, I didn't play Final Fantasy, but I am impressed with the effort WotC has put into this set and looks to be great for lovers of the franchise. We appreciate that $10, Headhunter Racing. Yeah, as somebody who has played some Final Fantasy, I've played 7, 8, 9, and 10. Not really much outside of that. We played some sort of Final Fantasy game on GameCube. What was that? Final
Crystal
Fantasy
Chronicles.
No, Crystal Chronicles. Shout out to our buddy Jack. He had that on GameCube. We all played that, and I remember you had to use your Game Boys hooked up to it in order to.
Yeah,
it was weird. It was weird. Nintendo has always done some pretty weird stuff, but yeah, you know, that's pretty much what. I mean, like I love a lot of what's going on with Final Fantasy. I'm still gonna ride if we don't get the card game within a card game. Like, give us a Shahrazad kind of thing.
So yeah, so he actually alluded to he said there's going to be 5 side quest cards in the game. This one's Catch a Fish they showed us today, and he basically confirmed that there's a Blitzball one and maybe multiple Blitzball cards. But
okay,
he confirmed that this was going to be a thing, and he said that the side quests are from different games, and he was like, we know the side quests that people want to spend their whole time doing, that people want to do instead of the main game. We get it. Yeah. And so we wanted to incorporate those into the game. And so I'm assuming that the card game is also going to be in there.
Tight. And then we also need the golden saucer from Final Fantasy 7.
Okay, perfect. Yeah, we'll do that, Travis.
What, Damien's? I can go in there and find it too.
Pre-release promos are the pixel set. I don't see Damien's message.
Yeah, the last I see is Benson down there. Well, I'll do a. Oh, I wonder if it's in general. Hold on.
Oh, it is in general.
Yeah, here we go.
Look at that.
8-bit packaging on the pre-release. That's cool.
So that on the side chat says pre-release promo card.
Oh, wow.
That's a good find.
Look at how they did the 8-bit with Fibblethip and Fierce Guardianship and all that. And they've kind of been easing us into this because they did kind of almost like a 8-bit with the Mirrored Insanity. They've done 8-bit with Basic Lands and Secret Lair. So they've been easing us into this. They've been getting us ready slowly but surely, conditioning us in our mind to be ready for some 8-bit Final Fantasy here.
Everything is working toward that, dude. Look at this.
Yeesh.
These
if
are
you don't think it is, you wrong.
These are the 4 face commanders in their character portraits with the like Roman numeral thing behind them.
Hot.
Dude, these look so hot.
Hot.
They are just like, I can just basically what I'm doing with this. My hype is really high, but I've never played Final Fantasy, but it's because I'm like proxying a Marvel set sort of like underneath this in my head, because I'm like, okay, if they're doing this well for Final Fantasy, and I'm so impressed with choices that they're making of things that I don't care about at all or know about at all, that I'm literally learning about right now to be prepared for this set release. I think that's why I'm getting so hyped over some of these things and treatments and choices, is because I'm just like, dude, the one I'm excited about is going to melt my face. And it's one of like 3 or 4.
Yeah, you're going to be in trouble, dude.
Very in trouble.
Your wallet.
Especially since they're charging $210 for a play box.
And you bet your ass they ain't gonna rein that back in when they get to Marvel time, baby.
Oh no. Travis, thank you for that. Damien, good find.
Yeah, Damien. Good stuff there. And then Travis also, yes, big thank you for letting us know about that. That's pretty cool. And then there has been, just making sure, explicitly sure, there has been confirmation on serialized cards in this.
Yes.
I think it would be a massive miss if there wasn't. So this is the time.
Let's see if serialized is even coming up on Twitter right now.
The die looks like materia. Okay.
Okay, they're not answering. They're getting that question a lot. Is there going to be a serialized headliner? What's the headliner for the set going to be? And so they must just be saving it as the big, you know, start of the entire thing. Yeah. So chat is it's in the packaging. Let me where my incognito tab go? Right. On here, may include serialized card.
Got it. That's it. That's
So
what we got.
We know it's happening. That's less shocking. Yeah, they're definitely putting Final Fantasy 16 stuff into it. He said that while they were developing it, they were developing that video game, and so they got to like really in a cool way collab with them to make cards for a game that was like actively in development. Yeah, BuzzFuzz, that could be a good place to reveal the headliner is at MagicCon. Save a little Final Fantasy announcement there. I have a feeling that most of MagicCon is going to focus on Dragonstorm because they want to kind of change lanes here. This was just a little taste so that they could get this out of the way for the vendors and distributors. But I would assume that Con is going to be completely focused on Dragonstorm. Stuff will get mentions, and they could just drop that.
My hot take?
Yeah.
Just like we got a Doctor Strange counterspell, Chicago's going to have a promo that's related to Final Fantasy. That's what I think is going to happen. Is we're going to get a Final Fantasy promo in Chicago.
That'd be great.
Yep.
I would be down for that. I would certainly think that's a good idea.
I mean, I don't see why they would put tape on his microphone while he's trying to talk to chat, but you know.
Don't mute it.
No, I if they're gonna do that with the Doctor Strange thing, then I think that then it would be a misstep to not just do that here. Keep the hype train a moving, you know. That's where I'm at.
Cactuar. We've seen Cactuar. Wow, I cannot believe these prices. These prices have
same.
Just kind of floored me today. It makes sense, and I get it. That's what I assumed it was going to be. All Tarkir, Travis. Yeah, MagicCon is this weekend, New Blacks. We will be there. We've posted our schedule all over social medias and in our Discord. Go check it out and catch us at the show.
Yes, please.
We don't know the specifics of the gift bundle yet. I know from looking at the box it includes a collector booster. So it'll probably have some exclusive promo things. What are those dragons, by the way? What game are these from? Because those look awesome.
Those are from... Oh, God, I'm not even sure.
Oh, that is a 16 thing? So there you go. 16 Lovers Rejoice. Bahamut versus Ifrit. Got it.
That is what it is, yeah. That makes sense.
Let me check my notes and see if there's anything else we missed. Prices are crazy. New card type / mechanic. Oh, Through the Ages bonus sheet. I got to show you this, Jake. They've got a bonus sheet in this set. Through the Ages.
Jake, how many collector boxes did you pre-order? None. I wish I had got one.
They'll be back up. Check these out. These are the two cards that we saw from Final Fantasy Through the Ages bonus sheet. That on the left is an Ancient Copper Dragon reprint. That on the right is a Yuriko the Tiger Shadow reprint.
That is pretty wild.
Yuriko currently looking, it's like a $2 to $5 card. It's not that bad. Ancient Copper Dragon. Oh, Yuriko got a big treatment in Commander Masters, huh? Ancient Copper Dragon is a $75 card right now. One of the most expensive meals you've ever had.
That is pretty wild.
Chat gets
That
it.
is pretty cool. Ancient copper. Wait, what did you say?
It's the most expensive meal you've ever had.
I see. I see where you're going with this.
Chat was there.
And then Eureka. Wow, these are weird. Final Fantasy Through the Ages.
It's like concept art. Like that's Amano art right there.
Yeah, that's cool, man. That's pretty cool.
Mox Opal bonus sheet card. What are you talking about?
Oh god, no, I'm not eating it.
If you pull this one, no, that's not happening. We'll try and get out ahead of that one. Chat, we're at 136 likes. If we can get us to 169 before we end the stream today, that would be fantastic. So yeah, we also got it through the ages bonus sheet. Chat, we got a little bit more, I think, than we thought we would see today. I did not expect this much information, this many cards.
It's a lot.
For this, before we even got into Dragonstorm. Like, we haven't seen a single card from Dragonstorm, have we? We haven't seen anything for that. Like, that set hasn't even gotten one of those early preview things.
Mm-hmm.
That's happening at Vegas. I mean, that's happening in Chicago. Vegas is the only one we go to every year. And so now this year, I'm just calling all the Magicons Vegas.
Mm-hmm.
I keep having to remind myself we are going to be in Chicago. It is going to be 25 degrees.
It is going to be nice and chilly. It's going to be nice and chilly.
Nice and chilly, dude.
Yeah.
This is going to be us trying to get to the convention every morning. That right there.
Probably so.
We have to fight that to get to the convention. Both most excited for with Final Fantasy or with Chicago? Chicago's going to be sweet.
Yeah, I'm pretty excited about Chicago, yeah. Pretty excited, man. We're going to have a fun time. Venom, what up? Good to see you.
Chad, I think that's what we got today. Jake and I are going to scurry off and make the videos that we know you love to watch. We are going to be back. Not next week, but the week after.
That's right. And if you would...
I may actually be live next Tuesday. We'll see. We'll see. It'll be a casual stream next week if we do stream. Just coming right off of con weekend. Those are pretty tiring. And so yeah, stay tuned for whether or not we'll be live next week. If we will, it'll just be something casual. We'll be back totally next week. Week after that. Sorry. And probably well into Dragonstorm at that point. Ready to talk about some Tarkir cards.
Mm-hmm.
And what is going on. If you're going to Chicago, we'll see you in a few days. If you're not,
Travis, we will
see you in a week or so.
Sir. Yeah. Yeah, we're going to have a fun time there. Make sure you come find us. We're going to be posting the schedule today. You can find our schedule on Instagram. I'm sure Joel's going to post the schedule on Twitter.
Yeah, it's already on Twitter. It's already in our Discord.
We have a fun idea for a video that we're potentially going to do, pending we decide to go through with it. Definitely come by and find us on Saturday. We might be doing a pretty fun video and you could be in it. So, yeah, we're going to be hanging out mostly in Creator Central. If you are going to be in Chicago, definitely come find us there. And yeah, we're not saying, hey, we're going to be able to get a game with everybody, but we are going to try to play some games. And we're just going to be hanging out. We have a meet and greet on Friday. Bro, if you're a patron,
I'm getting a game with you. It's happening. We're going to make it happen. We will sit around in a semicircle.
That's right. So come find us. And yeah, Kyle, good luck in the PTQ.
Nice, dude. Good luck.
Yeah, we know there's going to be a lot of people there for different reasons, but we're really just going to be there to hang out with people, hang in Creator Central. So come find us. Come say hey. Join our Discord. I just typed Nightbot just dropped a Discord link in chat. Join our Discord. Come say hey. That's where you can get plugged in. Keep up with us on a daily basis. That's where the information is. Yeah, and if you did enjoy this stream, I know there's still like 400 of you watching. If you have enjoyed this stream, we would encourage you subscribe, click like, subscribe, come hang out with us in the future. We're pretty close to 169 likes. We're only 11 away. So help us get there before we end this stream. And yeah, we appreciate all of you so much. I see Queen Honey, Blake Widow, Sharpeepee, Will L, Kyle, Spectre's out there, John Reed hanging out, BuzzFuzz, Cisco, Count is out there, Travis, thank you for hanging out, Venom, Chris Q, all these folks.
Enjoy
I'm
Utah.
seeing a lot of new folks. I'm seeing a lot of the usual suspects out there as well. So we appreciate all of you so much. I know we saw a bunch of our moderators. Food Time was out there, Brody, Spectre we already mentioned, Jank was in chat as well. Yeah, we love you guys. We appreciate all of you so much for hanging out. And yeah, we pretty much got to 169 likes, so not bad, man. Not bad.
Oh, nice. Yeah, we need 5 more. Beautiful. Chat, we appreciate y'all. Looking forward to Final Fantasy. See y'all in Chicago.